My first guest tonight, I'm very excited to have this guy here. He is the host of MMA Connected on Rogers Sportsnet. Ladies and gentlemen, Showdown, Joe Ferraro.
Thank you.
Don't worry, we'll keep him away from you.
Keep an eye on him.
Yeah. So, Joe, first of all, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate
Thanks for having me on. I love London, man. Thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you. Oh, no problem.
Whenever I can come out here, I love coming out here. So
awesome. What's your favorite part of London?
Adrenaline MMA is one of the schools I love visiting with Sam Stout and guys like Chris Hordesky and Mark Hominick.
Sure, yeah.
I've known those guys. I think I've known them, Chris when he was in his teens, Mark when he was like 17. So I've known them. I remember Sammy, I hope he's not here, but Sammy when he was a youngster with all the acne and stuff like that. And he's going into quite the ladies' man and a great UFC fighter. So
awesome. Sam Stout, yeah, we actually had him on our show. Yeah.
Keep your distance from him.
I did, actually.
Yeah. You ever been kicked by Sam?
I've never been kicked by
You should
anybody.
put Lars in a cage with Sammy.
Oh, he will. After
Straighten him
what
out a
he
little
said
bit.
before he came out here. Yeah. Sam and I are good friends.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's not allowed to talk during the interviews. That's why he's doing that. Awkward face. Yeah.
Good stuff.
So, Joe, you are, of course, the host of MMA Connected. You're an MMA analyst. You also have a radio show, right, on Fan 590 called The Showdown?
The Showdown, yeah.
Okay. So I guess my first question would have to be, when did you start balding?
Well, I would say when I was about 17, 18.
17 or 18?
Just started combing my hair, and I kept looking at the brush, and I'm like, I'm over this. Just took a razor to it, and that was it. So that was a couple years ago.
Nice.
I'm not giving up my age.
A couple years ago, you were 17 or 18? And,
Yeah.
Okay.
24 now.
Yeah. Sure you are. Yeah. Okay, so in all seriousness, when did you become sort of interested in MMA?
The very first time I saw Hoist Gracie and Ken Shamrock fight in 1993, I tried to figure out what this little skinny Brazilian guy was doing. He's 175 pounds at the time, or 173, and he kept beating up these guys 200 pounds. And I come from a bit of a boxing background, a little bit of little wrestling and just grappling in general, and tried to figure out what is this guy doing? This is just beating these guys up, and so I have to learn this stuff. And I remember sitting at the bar with my friends, and I was the only guy that was enthralled by this. And I went, you can't win a fight like that. You can't choke a guy out, and you can't armbar a guy. I'm like, that dude's not getting up. So he's winning that fight, and just from there I wanted to learn, and then from there it just took off.
So you started as a fighter? You started like...
That was my goal. I wanted to go pro. I wanted to fight, and this was a time back, like now when you're training, that the instructors are much more safe with their students.
Okay.
We came from a time where you could tap out to an armbar, but then you'd go watch a UFC event, and you'd see a guy escape the armbar. Well, that's what we're doing on Monday. And no one's tapping, and it got to a point where we would never tap. It was just so bad, and I mean, I think I snapped pretty much every limb in my body a whole whack of times, like both ankles, both knees, both sides, hip bone, nose, busted my nose, stitches on my face, and I said...
Sounds fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Yeah. And I quickly realized, I'm not going to go pro. My body's not going to be able to handle it. And I said, there's some way, somehow, I've got to stay into this. So kept my nose to the grindstone and kept going.
Awesome. Very nice. Now, when you first got into it, did you realize did you think like MMA would be as big as it is today?
100%. Nobody can convince me otherwise. Nobody would listen. I remember knocking on the various doors of all the different television stations, the major mainstream stations, and I couldn't even finish my pitch, and they'd kick me out the door. And I had one theory, and it's pretty much a theory I've had in all of my career, all my business endeavors. And when I come up with an idea, I tell the people that I'm with, you're either in or you're in the way. So make a decision. Be with me, or I'm taking the door down. That's what we did, and we got MMA Connected, the Showdown, so we're laughing.
Nice, very nice. So you just bullied your way into a TV show.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah, do it my way or else. It's the old Robert De Niro tactics.
And you're on Rogers Sportsnet.
Yep.
Which is, we're down here, of course, in the minor leagues on Rogers.
It's beautiful stuff. You guys are doing a great job. I love it.
Thank you very much. Can you get me a meeting with somebody in the big leagues there?
We can leave right after
just
this.
Just go right in, and if you're not, whatever you just said, if you're not...
You're either in or you're in the way.
Yeah, you're either in or where is the cat? You're either in or you're in the way. That's good.
Done. Perfect. Yeah.
We're going to have to edit that out.
I recommend you do that, yeah.
But hey.
It was nice knowing you. This gig lasted.
Yeah, it was good while it lasted.
Awesome.
I mean, one show at the McManus, it was a nice place.
Beautiful, yeah. Good job.
That's pretty good. One of the main reasons that we wanted to have you here is that MMA was recently legalized in Ontario, and you are obviously a very big advocate for the MMA sport. So we got to take a real quick commercial break, but when we come back, I want to know what part you had to play in that, all right?
I'd love to,
Okay, we'll be right back. We're with Showdown Joe. We are back with Showdown Joe. So before the break, we were talking about MMA being legalized here in Ontario. So what part did you play in that? How big of a part did you play in that?
I don't know if my role was as big as some people are making it out to be. I think what the real issue was, the first time I contacted our athletic commission and our government here was in 1998. And I tried to get them and say, listen, what does it take to put on an event? What do I need for my promoter's license? What can we do to bring events here? Because I can never figure out, like, when Lennox Lewis was the heavyweight boxing champion in the world, why was he only fighting in Las Vegas? This is a guy that pretty much grew up in Brampton, Ontario, just outside of Toronto. Why is he not defending the heavyweight championship here? Then we had Carlos Newton, you have Mark Hominick, Sam Stout. These guys can't fight here. Why? I want to know why. So I started asking, what's going on here? And I found out there's some legalities in there. So I tried to work with the government. And then to make a long story short, over the past, I'd say 12 years, I felt like that lumberjack in the forest that's got this massive forest to take down. He's got one axe, and one by one he's taken down, one tree which represents a politician. Well, once the UFC got involved and they hired the Castles and Brock firm, they came in with those chainsaws and just cleared the forest right down. So they actually thanked me in one of their Twitter messages, or Twit messages. Twitter? Twitter? I'll be okay.
Twitter.
Yeah, it's a good thing I have one. All right. So they thanked me, but my role was minor. Once they got involved and once the government really saw the amount of money that can be generated, and of course the unified rules of MMA, it's a no-brainer.
Awesome. Sounds good. Now, you mentioned that London obviously has a very big MMA presence. They have the Adrenaline Training Center. What do you think makes London such a hotbed for MMA talent?
Drunk university students. These guys are always like this. It's that Molson muscle, the Molson courage, and no, what it is it's not just London. It's all these different communities that understand that we're Canadian, and you're familiar with Vanderlei Silva?
Yeah.
They call him the axe murderer.
Sure. Yeah.
You guys know who Vanderlei Silva is? I was interviewing him one time, and
7 people.
Seven. It's good. My favorite friends. Those are my good guys.
Awesome.
He came to the studio one time, and he's like, Joe, I know why you Canadians love mixed martial arts. And I said, well, okay, why is that? He's like, you guys play that sport where they have those funny things on their feet and they're skating around. I'm like, yeah, hockey. He's like, do you ever notice when you're watching hockey, the fans are sitting down when the game is on, and the minute a fight starts, everyone stands up? He's like, it's in your DNA. You Canadians love fighting. And I said, that's a very good analogy, yeah. So, and London, with the London Knights and the different, minor hockey league here, it's ingrained in us, right? Got a good boxing community. And just in general, when you have guys like Sean Tompkins, who started from here, and he's helped plant the seed here, you got all these different guys that are coming up with talent, and, Canadians love fighting. That's just the bottom line. They love fighting, and London's a fight town.
London is a fight. I saw a guy, we were out one night, and we saw a guy get punched out on Richmond Street. And he said something to the guy, just knocked him right out. It was awesome.
That was it, though? That was the fight?
Oh, that was the whole fight, man. That was it. It was just... and then
bang,
right in the face. It was awesome. Yeah.
I'm not leaving the studio until you guys are coming with me, right?
It was great. Right. So obviously we talked about Adrenaline. So there's Chris Hordecki. Yep. There's Mark Hominick, Sam Stout. They have some really big fights coming up, all three of them. So I want to get your predictions on some of these fights. We got Chris Hordecki versus Ed Ratcliffe. Who do you take there?
Just a little bit of bias there. But I'll take Chris, but he needs to keep that guard up because Ratcliffe's very explosive. He'll come and he'll try and basically stick and move, come in, punch Chris a couple times, get out, and really frustrate Chris. Chris is smart, though.
All right. Mark Hominick versus Leonard Garcia.
Not a fight I want to see. I don't think anyone that knows Mark wants to see this fight because Leonard Garcia, the whole reason why this fight was put together because Mark called him out, and Leonard Garcia was in the fight of the year so far for 2010 against a guy named the Korean Zombie. And Mark had an amazing fight, and he says, you know what, we should contest this to see who deserves fight of the year. It's going to be literally, if this thing goes 15 minutes, I feel bad for both guys. They're going to need some Advil and some Tylenol afterwards because they're just going to slug at each other and beat the crap out of each other. So
it's going to be a real fight.
It's going to be a real fight. Definitely tune into that one.
And lastly, Sam Stout versus Paul Taylor.
Sammy should win this fight. I've felt Sammy's kicks. I felt his punches. I felt his damn liver shot, and what it feels like is the guy's an animal, and I think Paul Taylor's going to have his hands
Sorry,
full.
does Sam Stout not like you?
Pretty much. That's pretty much
so you
it.
guys
Yeah.
don't get along.
We record. If you ever seen the show MMA Connected, we have what's called the Fight School,
Right.
and most of the fighters, whether it's George St. Pierre or anyone out there, they're kind of gentle on me, with the exception of Sam Stout. Sam's like, yeah, you're one of my boys. You're going to feel this kick. You're going to feel this takedown. But against Paul Taylor, he's going to let loose. And I don't think he can take that punishment that Sam's going to give him.
All right. Well, okay. Before I let you go here, we like to have some guest challenges and do some fun things with our guests. We had the Mayor of London on in our last show, and through a screw job, thanks to Lars, I lost to her in a debate.
The fix.
Yeah. And so what I wanted to do with you was just throw some MMA trivia at you and see kind of how much you know. Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. You look real enthused.
No, I'm going to lose. I already know I'm going to lose. Believe it or not, yeah. I'm terrible at trivia.
We'll see, 5 questions. We'll see how many you get. So, in what year did Dana White and the Fertitta brothers buy the UFC, and for how much?
I'm going to go with 2001 for $2 million.
2001 is correct, and it was for $1 million. So I'll give it to you. Okay. That was a two-parter. I'll give it to you, sure. What is Tito Ortiz's real name?
Jacob.
That's good.
Something
That's
Ortiz.
All that's on my card.
Good.
So
Jacob.
that's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. So that's 2 out of 2.
Can I leave now?
What's that?
Can I leave now?
No.
No? All right.
There's 3 more.
Awesome.
What UFC did Joe Rogan make his debut?
Oh, wow. 28?
No. 12.
12.
Close.
We're at 125 here. No, like, okay, sorry.
Who was the first UFC fighter on the cover of Sports Illustrated?
El Matador, Roger Huerta.
It was Roger Huerta. Yes. Last one because of time. At which UFC did George St. Pierre debut?
I know it was against Carl Parisian at UFC 56?
46. I'll give it to you
46.
because it was only 10 off, and I'm a little afraid of it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Showdown Joe. Thank you. Thanks a lot for being here, man.